Well, like the great Mark Chestnut says, it sure is Monday. What a Monday it is. Welcome to the All New SportsCage. It's Barney, Shynkaruk, Derek, Bidwell. I can't see you, Bidsy, so I hope you're there. The double C's are behind things here. Curtis and Colson, and we have 3 hours with you here. What do we got? Well, we're going to recap the Rider game, I guess. It wasn't fantastic. There was a lot to it, and let's put it all into perspective. Always welcoming your thoughts on the Capital Ford Lincoln text line. What did you think about things? What did you think about that weird finish in Montreal? We're going to talk about that, of course, because it's still a noodle scratcher for me. 936-6262. Capital Ford, Saskatchewan's #1 Ford retailer. We're going to hear from some of that post-game comment from Saturday night from Coach Mace and Benoit Marion as well. Eric Francis joins us in hour 2. Eric Francis is in Nevada, Las Vegas to be specific, getting ready as the Flames tour down there. We'll catch up with him. We will have Coach Mace. That's another little nugget here if you're texting in. If you got a question for the head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, what would you ask Coach Mace? If there's a couple of good ones, we'll pick them out like we usually do when we have the coaches show. We'll ask Coach Mace. That's at about 4:40 time. Hour 3, Darian Durant is going to join us. Curious to get Double's thoughts on things, how the week went down. We'll talk some NFL with him as well. Yeah, that is the program. Bidsy, you were on the sideline. Let's start there. You were on the sideline Saturday. And the way things end in Montreal, man, it's hard to. You're professional. You got to go out, and we can all the word salad you want and the rah rah, but talk about being deflated. I felt it. I know you could tell the fans. I couldn't imagine being a player in that situation.
Yeah, you know what? I think they had to have been, all fired up. They got their obsidian green unis on. They think they're playing for first place in the West. They're all jacked up over that. And then all of a sudden they find out, well, just before that, Castillo missed. So they're thinking, okay, well, that's it. I was there early and walking around the stadium, and everybody was clapping, watching, the highlights from that game on the Jumbotron and the other monitors around the concourse, and everybody was all excited. And then all of a sudden, of course, it ends the way it ends. They get another shot, and this time they make it, and now the game really isn't for anything. So fans, I think, were a little deflated. I'm sure the team obviously had to change things. Who's going to be playing? How much are they playing? Are they playing at all? And it just would have been an absolute weird one, because normally, as you know, Shink, before a sporting event, I mean, you got your focus, you know what you're playing for. I mean, you know who's starting, and then all of a sudden it changes so fast that rarely ever happens. I can't really think of another time, although I'm sure the scenarios are out there. But yeah, it had to leave the players in an odd situation. I know it did the fans as well. And then it basically turned into a preseason game, unfortunately.
I want to ask Coach Mace this. Actually, we're in live time here. I got my questions in my notes. I want to put this down. I want to know, because they switched the positional charts. Ariel Zer does a great job for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. She sent out the email at 4:08 on the changes, and it was in, and then the players that were out: Milligan, Johnson, MLS, Ouellette, Patterson to start. That's what it said. So there was like that hour. I forget who it was. Yeah, last week on the show said it's an hour. You got an hour to make changes. So obviously it was like, okay, hit the switch, send the email. Mm-hmm. You saw it on the sideline. So true life story for me, how it went down. I was at home, like hockey weekend, right? Kids going 1,000 different directions, all that. I'm at home watching that game, and I'm like, okay, I got to get to the stadium. I see it. I see the first kick, the miss, and I'm like, all right, perfect. go. I think I better take an extra long sleeve. Go get changed. Come back to the TV room. Look at the TV, and I'm like, what? What is this? Is this an old game? Are they showing a rerun? What is with the weather? And then there's like, can't believe what we're seeing. He's going to line up for, what was it, a 51-yarder? 51-yard field goal. It does pouring rain. I'm like, what happened? Did I get hit on the head? Someone put something in my drink. It literally was like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I was absolutely jacked for the game, right? I had action on a number of different ways.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm like, what? No. And walking into the stadium, went to the Green and White Lounge quickly, checked everything out there. There were a lot of people that were still in one, having a good time, which was great to see. But everybody else, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there as well. If you do not feel like that, I hope you're not lying. Hope you're telling the truth. But you would have been defeated. Trying to get up for a football game at that point, I don't know. And then I start thinking, and I don't know if anything comes to the top of your head or anybody out there that's listening, where weather has affected especially a CFL game so much. I don't remember. I'm trying to, there's been snow games. Obviously, there's been regular season games. We saw one in Ottawa this year in a monsoon. Ended up in a tie. There's been some cold ones. I don't recall something like just switching so quick. You ever seen that movie, The Truman Show, where he lives in a dome?
Yeah.
And everything is staged, and they like hit a wind button. It's all in production. And there would be an honest human being out there that thinks that the CFL is rigged and it was all planned and yada. Obviously, it's not. Mother Nature doesn't work like that. But it was wild. Like, do you remember anything? Like, even if you go back to like watching university or college or high school, where it was almost like it was a video game, or it was a bit staged.
You know what? I don't recall something like, I recall, games being influenced hugely by wind, but that's the whole game normally, right? I know there's some games where, okay, there's no snow, there's no rain, and then all of a sudden there is snow and rain, and then things change. But normally with wind, it doesn't pick up just like that in the last, minute of a game sort of thing. It was very bizarre with that wind, how it just all of a sudden started and changed the course of the game. Obviously, like, talk about going from a goat to a hero as well too. Sergio Castillo, after he missed that field goal, he was down. He was squatted down on the field. He had both his hands on his sides of his helmet, and he did that. He sat there for like maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds. He just felt so bad that he wasn't able to make that field goal. He was just so distraught. And then he got another shot, and this time he made it. And he's jumping all over his teammates, and the little guy's getting raised up in the air, and it was bizarre. And I want to say as well, Shank, you talk about true life story, or this really happened. I mean, this was my experience with it at Mosaic Stadium, is that people were all walking around high-fiving. And I was getting in the elevator to go up to our radio broadcast booth to get my gear, to go down to the sidelines and do my mic tests and everything. People are high-fiving. After Castillo missed that, they're high-fiving. We're going to win this game. We're going to be hosting the West. Yeah. And then people were like, did you hear? And the guys were, what? Yeah. Did you hear? Yeah. What? No, that did not happen. Yeah. Like guys where maybe they went and got a pop, they got a beer, they were in the can, they were talking to somebody wherever they were, and they just were in absolute disbelief. People were telling them that this is what actually happened, and they couldn't believe it. It was Planet Bizarro. It was a weird 15 minutes there at Mosaic Stadium, and I'm sure with Rider fans in general.
Yeah, if you're watching the stream, you just saw me. I already dropped my poppy. I'm already down a poppy today. Yeah, but like you said, Castillo. And then when he gets the second attempt, I'm like, oh, it takes me back to 2009. It's like, well, he's not going to, not going to miss it twice. But then I see that rain coming down sideways. And I'm like, well, this isn't as easy of a kick as it looks. Hey, let's remember in football, any kind of big kick, when you go, you need the snap. Wait, first off, you need everybody to stay on side. Then the snap.
And you got to have the right amount of people on the field?
Yes. Snap. Ooh, a low blow. Yeah, snap's got to be executed.
I was there.
Snap's got to be executed. The hold has to be executed. And then the kick. So there's, so then I'm seeing that rain sideways and the wind. And I'm like, all right. Yeah, it's gross out. Maybe he won't make this. And then he makes it. Oh, yeah, there's Mike O'Shea, if you're watching the stream, running on. You lucky.
And everybody's
SOB.
all over Castillo. But, I mean, talk about, he was going to go on the plane, head down, chin down, shoulders slumped. He was going to be all feeling bad. And then all of a sudden, chin up, shoulders back. Woo! I'm the man. And his whole day just switched absolutely. Castillo's did. And the Bombers, in just that very short amount of time, it was very bizarre.
936-6262, Capital Ford Lincoln text line. Heck, if you want to call in today. I don't even know if we're allowed to if we can take calls in this new system right here. 866-767-0620. Are the Bombers that good? They didn't look fantastic. And when you think about our games against them, everything's been tight. I watched the game, and Montreal changes quarterbacks. And then at that point, I'm like, no, just keep them in, please. Do it for Saskatchewan. And I'm like, why the heck would he want to do anything for Saskatchewan? Obviously. So then they change. But it wasn't. Davis Alexander looked good. Went in, looked good. He was marching. Winnipeg on the other side, giving up plays. Don't get me wrong. Winnipeg's a good football team. I think every team in the CFL this year, maybe besides Calgary, maybe Hamilton, who was Jekyll and Hyde, pretty good football team. Anybody can beat anybody. And that's why going into these playoffs, and I think I saw it again on the weekend, where somebody was like, Winnipeg's a different level. It's just such a great team. What? They should have lost that game. We should have beat Winnipeg.
We obviously have a test ahead of us in the U.S. semifinal, and we got to get past that first. We got to get past the Lions first. But I'm just saying, you're talking about the matchup between the Bombers and the Riders if we're able to win that game and move on to the West semifinal. I'm going to look back at the way John Hufnagel spoke to his team before that Grey Cup in Montreal. He said, you know what, guys? We're on the road. We don't have the crowd behind us. We're the underdogs. He listed something else, and he said, with a four-letter friend getter in there, he said, we got them right where we want them. And all the guys run, charged out there, right? You could look at that at this matchup. If the Riders are able to get to the final, we're in Winnipeg. They've beaten us twice already this year. Nobody thinks we can do it, and we got them right where we want them. Yeah. It's tough to beat a football team 3 times in a year. As everybody always references that, but it's true because the one team has just had enough of being kicked around, and the other one kind of looks past them because they've already beat them twice. So I don't mind our chances. Got to get past the Lions first, but I don't mind our chances with the Bombers.
Yeah, no, the Lions game is, and we'll be talking about that all week as we go along here. That's gonna be a tough one. It was a great weekend football-wise when you look at just the football that was going on in the area. High school, Friday night in Regina, and I know we had some emails hi@sportscage.com. That's hi@sportscage.com when it comes to high school football. But we had LeBoldus, who was eating Western Pizza Friday afternoon. Western Pizza South, shout out Spiro. Laboldus upset Miller in the first game. And then Campbell Riffle, that was the 2-3. Campbell pulls it out. So we got the 4th seed and the 3 seed in the Regina City final in football there. Then the Rams. You were at that game. You guys had to call it outside. You guys got bullied out of the press box?
No, well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, there's only so much room in there, and you got to have, both teams got to have their people in there because they got to be in there to call the game, and they don't want their stuff to blow around, I guess. I don't know, whatever. And then the TV pretty boys went in there, and so they have to have a spot in there because that's just where all their stuff is, I guess. And then you got the spotters, whatever. It's a small press box, so they said, well, you can either go to the end zone, call it out of there behind the glass, or you can be outside. And Brendan McGuire knows the stadium a little bit better than I do, and he's like, Bids, you can't call it from the end zone. You won't be able to see anybody, and you only be able to see the team in front of you. You're not going to be able to see the team on the other side from the end zone. So he said, we got to do it from outside. So we did it from outside, 4 hours outside. By the end of it, I was running in I was jogging on the spot just to stay warm. I texted you after, Shane.
You would have looked like an absolute weirdo.
Yeah, just up there, just running away, just full of energy. That guy's full of energy up there. Look at him. He's just running away. Holy cow, he's had some Red Bulls.
He's on his 3rd Red Bull.
Yeah, he's had some Skittles and Red Bull, and look at that guy go. For an older fella, he can really run on the spot really well. And anyway, it turned out great. Obviously, the Rams prevailed, and they won, and they're in the postseason. And I will give a shout-out to all the fans. Huge football fan support in the Queen City for that game. It was a chilly night. It's at Leibel Field. It's not a Mosaic. And they packed the place. So that was really great to see. And they were getting into it. The Rams purposely put the visiting team, or in this case, obviously the U of A Golden Bears, next to the stands because they wanted them to get into that, get into it with them. And they did. And the U of A players were getting into it back with them, and they were getting distracted. And it was really, it was a real advantage there for a little while. Those guys were being knuckleheads and engaging with the fans. Anyway, great job by the fans. Full house, Leibel Field, Rams prevailed, and they're moving on. So it was a great night.
Says the guy that was running on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah, hardcore.
No, but the game, though, the Rams were in trouble.
Yes.
And they had to battle back. Like, how did that go? I picked up there was about, I want to say, 5-6 minutes in the 3rd quarter, and they were down, I want to say, 22-11 or something like that. Like, they had to grind to get back into that game. Was it, when we talked to McConkey on Friday, we kind of talked about, hey, playoff football, weird things can happen, especially at the amateur level, which, U Sport. And I guess that was the case in that game. Wasn't there like a couple of weird plays early? I didn't catch that. I wasn't listening yet. I was at the hockey rink still.
Yeah, no. It was all about special teams, unfortunately, at the start for them. The Rams, they made, if you looked at the stats, they were favoring the Rams, but the Rams were getting thumped on the scoreboard. And you're wondering, if you just were looking at the score, you would think, wow, they're absolutely getting destroyed here probably in all facets, but they weren't. It was special teams blunders, blocked field goals, fakes that that were successful by U of A. So it was special teams mistakes that really hurt the Rams. But then they found this guy named Christian Katende, the running back, the big guy, and they went to him. And the Hoggies, as you know, Shink, when they get rolling, they get excited. You get big gains on the ground, and they feel like the running back gets the glory, but the Hoggies know that they played a big part in that too. They know they're turning. Yeah. And they get jacked up, and they know they're working down the defense, and they know they're wearing them out, and they love it. They love it. They love it. They love it. They go back in the huddle. They call another run, and that's what the Rams finally did. They just said, we're going Christian Katende till they can stop us, and they couldn't.
Yeah. On the heels of that, so that was 29-22, comeback win for the Rams. Now they go and play Manitoba, which the way CIS, again, McConkey said it Friday on the show, weird things can happen, especially this year when it comes to CFL, CIS. Yesterday, unfortunate, Okanagan Sun. Are you going to talk? Sorry, go ahead, Colson.
Nope, I was just looking at the stats for the game. Time of possession, 18-15 for Alberta, 41-45 for the Rams. They had the ball the entire game.
And the first downs was hugely lopsided towards the Rams as well.
Yeah, Rams had 31 first downs. Alberta had 13. Like Bidsy was saying, it's just completely lopsided.
That's the weird thing about football, right? Like, it's just sometimes the Rams lose that game. We are sitting here going, what the... But then yesterday, speaking of a pack libel field, Thunder and Okanagan, national semifinal, junior football. David Thomas and I were cuddled up the top of the grandstand. It was chilly. When that wind and that sun was out, it was chilly. I was like, do I got a blanket in the car? I want to be blanket guy here, but I might have to. Okanagan, good football team. They put them on that side too. There were some good chirps. The bottom right side of the grandstand, a lot of younger kids, probably buddies. Maybe some former Thunders from just graduated a few years ago. I can't repeat them. Some really good chirps to the Okanagan sideline. If you're not sure what a chirp is, trash talk. How about that? Can we say that? Trash talking, some good ones. And then Okanagan was giving it back. They had a few players, a little cocky, a little confident, and I'm like, oh, you guys better hope you win this if you're getting that cocky. Good football team. Thunder offensive line, Thunder running backs, Thunder defensive line, Thunder linebackers, all try. Like the effort level, Thunder just couldn't move the ball in the air, through the air. They just couldn't. So the running game, try again, try some screen passes. When it came to trying to complete anything through the air, just wasn't their day. Feel bad for the quarterback, but you want to play quarterback. You're in that position because you're going to be under pressure. You're going to play in the pressure. They need you to perform in the pressure. They couldn't do it, and Okanagan relied on the running back, but I guess that running back got hurt during the week of practice. So he was hobbling a bit, all that. That's Steven Smith that we've had on the show. That's the first time I've got to watch him play live. Legit. He is trying to think who back in your day would have been the stud linebacker for the Hilltops. Had that been Mountney? Like, was that time, or was that too young?
It was probably a guy by the name of Brad O'Keefe, and then Brad O'Keefe, and then he handed it off to Dave Guthrie, and Dave Guthrie handed it off to Warren Musica, and Warren Musica handed it off to Ty Mountney. Like, kind of that star linebacker. Yeah.
Ended up playing Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Bombers, right? Ticats, a couple teams in the CFL, and now has been for a while the defensive coordinator for the U of S Huskies.
All over Steven Smith, all over the field. And I don't want to single out just him, like the rest of the team. Sadiq and Likert running and like you said, that offensive line who doesn't get the recognition, they were just pushing and pushing. And Okanagan was legit, right? They're good football team. The one coach on the sideline, just a typical football hardo coach. Loud, backwards hat, tell you he does lots of shrugs in the gym, like traps. And I was like, oh, this is classic. And he's just Mr. Intensity, speaking of 3 Red Bull, back and forth. The Thunder just couldn't get it done. And then in the third quarter, when it started, Dave says to me, interesting choice that the Sun took the wind in the third instead of the fourth. Well, ended up being super beneficial because the Thunder just couldn't march. There were a lot of 2-and-outs. Then they had to punt. Well, you're punting into a pretty decent wind, instant field position. field goal kicker for Okanagan. Good field goal kicker, whatever his name is. Kid was dialed. So, yeah, unfortunate thing there that the Thunder, Coach Scott McCauley, all the players, the graduating players, it's a tough one. They bow out. Okanagan moves into the Junior Football National Championship at 28-14 was the final at Libel yesterday. Lots of football. Like I said, it was a crazy weekend football wise. Let's take a quick break. While we're going, we got some text coming in on the Capital Ford Lincoln text line 936-6262. We got some tickets to give away too at some point here. So if you're watching that stream at sportscage.com, thank you very much. There's always a chance that you can win something special if you're watching the stream. And if not, always, we are on the home of football in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. All New SportsCage, Bidwell, Shynkaruk, Colson, Schultz, Curtis, Gammon. You guys get first and last names over there. Yeah. Thanks so much if you're watching that stream. Sportscage.com on YouTube. A couple of text messages to read out here. First off, name in Okanagan. Go Pound Sand. He says, been an Okanagan fan since day one. Of course, he's always got to chirp in. He listens and watches from Okanagan. Actually a solid dude. But, hey, congratulations. Go watch him play in the national final. That'll actually be pretty cool. Murray in Welwyn, Saskatchewan. Back to the Riders and Bombers and the CFL. Look, the Bombers have had the refs on their side this year. They've had the command center on their side this year. They might as well have Mother Nature on their side. Murray from Welwyn. Murray. I like it. Sour grapes a little bit, but I like it. It was weird. Glenn from Regina. Is it just me, or did the importance of the game changing in the last minute leave the team with a weird feeling for the playoff game? Last minute extra week off. Thought maybe they should have played their first stringers in a quarter or two regardless. That's a tough one. And we got Coach Mace coming up in a bit. Maybe we can ask him. I don't think you play. Those guys that they sit, the guys that they sat, those are I would have done the exact same thing personally. I don't coach in the CFL, or never have, or never will.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know. You never know, Shink. You never know if crazier things have happened. I don't know if you're going to be coaching in the CFL, but you're coaching right now. You coach flag.
I'll put my name in the hat. Like if they're taking resumes, my resume is always ready to go.
Well, first
so just
question,
let me know where to
right
send
up the
it.
hot.
I've done stupider things. Curtis McCowie in Saskatoon and Curtis Tran, they'll tell you he's done stupider things. He'll apply.
It involves high school and the roof of Bedford Road Collegiate.
But no. I think you sit, though. You definitely. AJ Ouellette, definitely. Roland Milligan, definitely. Harris, I leave that up to him. A little bit. I leave a little bit of that up to him. Hey, do you want to play? And if he's like, yeah, you know what? I to the left side, I haven't been really okay. Or do you just want to play because he's a competitor? If you just want to play because you're a competitor, take a seat, Charlie. We're going with Patterson.
Well,
but if he's got to work on something, or he really feels maybe just a couple series, hey, let's work on that post wheel, or let's work on that double move deep ball, or whatever. Again, you don't want to show too much, but maybe he wanted to work on something. Maybe you play. I agree. I agree with what they did in sitting him. Because what if? Yep. What if? If you're watching. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it all just falls in the risk-reward philosophy, right, Shink? Like, is the risk worth it? Now, if those guys could come out of a football game, a professional football game, a Canadian Football League football game, if those starters that you mentioned, those guys could come out of it unscathed,
a league I might coach in. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Still, you may apply for it. So if there's anybody listening, he still may apply. So post it on the job sites. He'll put in his resume. But yes, if they could have came out of it unscathed, if they could have played and came out unscathed, are they in a better position because of that time? Yes. But How do you know that? And is the risk worth the reward? It's just too risky, especially with your 38-year-old quarterback that has missed a lot of time in the Canadian Football League already.
I just want to be able to say I was in the running.
Yeah. Did you guys get my resume?
I was in the running.
You guys got my resume, right?
Thank God.
You know what I like about it,
I got a confirmation email back. That means I was in the running.
You know what I like about it, Shink, that would just be the fun thing. It's just, when you run into people and they say, hey, what's new? I just like to say, I applied for the head coaching job of, and just start off with that, right?
We might be moving. Applied for the Hamilton job.
I don't know
all kidding aside here. Post-game comments after the show, right here on 620 CKRM, the voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Coach Mace talking to the fellas after the game. You can kind of feel, right? He gets it, that the performance was kind of meh.
Lackluster. It wasn't us, man. We started, a little slow, and at halftime, we tried to rally a little bit. We just couldn't quite find our groove, in offense and or defense. So, we had to make some big plays, and we didn't quite get them. We couldn't, push momentum. So it was a rough one for us. But, definitely things that we're going to have to look at and fix. But the reality is, we got to flush and get ready to go next week.
Coach, I'm glad you said it like that, because before you got on here, I was saying, it'd be interesting to be a fly on the wall in your locker room when you delivered sort of the post-game message, right? How did you balance that message between being like, hey, this wasn't us, but also creating that environment? Because, you and I both know this situation, right? You don't tend to spend a ton of time, unless you do, watching this game, right? You zero your focus in on your opponent right away. But what was that balance like in the locker room?
Yeah, the one thing I will say, the guys were disappointed. A lot of guys got opportunities that, might not have had as much. And everybody was excited to see them go, and they want to help this team, and even guys that play every week want to help. We definitely want to end this game with a win, and we felt confident coming in there. So to put a performance like that, the guys were disappointed, and as a staff, we're disappointed as well. But we got to stay in the reality of things. But there certainly will be, Luke. There will be tons of stuff that we'll see on film. From guys that are playing, we'll be playing next week, that we're going to have to tighten up a little bit. But I did stress at the end of it, we gotta flush. We got to get back to work tomorrow. So we got to keep pushing, man.
Throw him up. Yeah, that was Coach Mace with the fellas on the post-game show. Kevin, Capital Ford Lincoln text line. I like it. Very witty. We got some real witty regulars. There's an opening as commish, Barney. Yeah.
Hey, once again, you can tell people I applied for it.
In all seriousness, I wonder if I could do that job and how long I could do it for. Really, you got to answer to the board of directors. Uh-huh. I got some great ideas. I think I would move the dates of the season, though, for sure. I wouldn't. I would try my darndest not to end football in the second week of November. I would try.
Would you try to make it so it could be October?
Definitely. Maybe Grey Cup, Thanksgiving weekend, Turkey Day shootout.
Wow, you have to really move it back. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are we doing in May? I know. Hey, I get in Saskatchewan, farmers are buzzing, but farmers are buzzing all the time.
Yeah.
Would it be that bad to move it to May? I don't know. What else does that interfere with? Psycho parents and spring hockey, fastball, softball for kids.
Maybe I don't know. There's got to be some reasoning, but obviously it's way better to be done a little earlier, especially for all the other host cities in the Canadian Football League that don't have a dome.
I've always said that. Even when I didn't even have life figured out. And I'm like, why are they playing? I remember, what I really caught on? I think it was the Riders playing Edmonton at Commonwealth Stadium in '89. That upset to go to It might have been then, or might have been around there. And I'm like, it is bloody cold out. Why would they do this? Like, what, and I'm probably, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years old. And I'm like, it doesn't seem right. And then it's like, oh, you got to be tough to play. And it's like, yeah, well, would you play hockey in slushy ice? No, you can, but you don't. You don't want to. You want the game to be played in the best conditions. I think when it comes to a championship football game, you want it to be played in the best conditions possible. It's the same for both teams. I get it. But if it's snowy and crap out and you got this very extremely fast dude in, let's say it's high school football or junior football, he gets negated a bit with the bad weather. So you're not playing best on best. I don't know. That's a whole other thing. When I'm commissioner, if I'm in the running.
I was going to say, yeah, save it for the job.
When I'm commish, getting ahead of the curve.
So we got one guy, hashtag Barney for commissioner, bring on spring football. Not trending yet, apparently. There's some funny people that text into this. Real comedians. We do live show and just bring some of these guys on and girls, and just let them be smart. Alex, Benoit Marion, heck of a game for the Riders on Saturday again. Another solid one. After the game, this he talks about his performance, but he also talks about, I had no idea. Great question by Dave Thomas. I had no idea he was a top-end hockey player. Check this out.
Yeah, no, I felt pretty good out there. Obviously, I think the coaches put us in great positions to make plays. Obviously, we wanted to come out and finish strong, get the W to come in the playoffs. But on the personal side, it felt good to get a little bit of volume and to get my feet wet again, and just to make some plays for this football team and this organization in this city.
Hey, you've jumped in and you played really well, man, in a short span of time. Talk about where you were prior to arriving in Rider Nation.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a pretty wild year for me personally. So I played for the Argos in Toronto for the past 3 years, and I played under Coach Mace. So we have a bit of a relationship there. And then I went to Hamilton for a part of this year, so I was in Hamilton. And then things happened where I was able to come here and to sign and help this playoff push. So I've been a bit of everywhere, but I'm very, very excited, very happy to be here with this organization, with this fan base, with the coaching staff, and the players have been great in welcoming me in and just making me feel at home really early.
Mace was very happy to welcome you back into his team, into the green and white. So when you were signed, he mentioned the fact that you were familiar with him and he was familiar with you. What has that allowed you to do and accomplish here in a Rider uniform?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that helped me pick up pretty quick everything that we're doing on defense. Obviously, it's pretty similar to what we had in Toronto, so I knew some of the systems, and I also know the expectations that Coach Mace has and what he wants out of his players and what kind of player he likes. And I've also had a bit of a relationship also with Coach Phil Daniels, playing with his son Davaris in Toronto and doing a football camp with him. So it's just been very, very smooth transition for me, and everybody here has been great, very welcoming and I'm just very happy to be here. I'm ready to keep stacking great days and to go on and help this team get back to the big game and to bring back a Grey Cup to Regina and Saskatchewan.
Your playing height and weight is listed at 6'5", 250 pounds, maybe 260. I understand you're a heck of a hockey player, though. Is that true? Yeah,
I dabbled a little bit in my younger days. I was pretty physical center. I was a lot lighter when I was playing hockey, though I definitely put on some pounds to play this great game. But played hockey up to the CHL level with the Quebec Remparts, was one of the last cuts over there, and then I played a little bit of junior AAA back in Quebec. And then I made the decision to keep playing football and to get my education and to go to the CEGEP route in Quebec and to go to university. And I'm very, very, very glad I made that decision. Looking back now and being able to play professional football in the CFL and to just keep getting better as a person, as a player, and it's been great for me.
If your adult safe team needs a player, text in. We can get you hooked up with Benoit. What a power forward that would be. That size.
Yeah.
Out
6'5", 250.
Yeah. A couple of things when we get back from break. Curtis is going to fill us in on a little stat when it comes to Roland Milligan Jr. Also, I have, remind me, I got an interesting about our daily sponsor today, Kellen Solar in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. An interesting tidbit that you're going to love. It's the All New SportsCage, streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back. Thanks to everyone who's texting in on the Capital 4 Lincoln text line. There was another one here I wanted to read. Guys, anything outside doesn't matter when you do it. Comments, best on best. If you are a big passing team, then good luck if really windy. Trevor and Regina talking about playing outside and when I become commissioner, how the league will end at Thanksgiving in Canada. Okay. You know our sister station, The Wolf, they do the, what is it called? You're down on the sideline all the time, Bidsy. You know what it is. Toss the rock.
Is it toss the rock where they got to hit the target being pulled behind, I think, a little quad thing or something like that. Anyway,
Yes.
A lot of fireworks. Yeah, it's a pretty easy one. Fun one.
So you got seven targets, 7 balls to try and hit that moving cart. If you've been to a Rough Rider game, you know what we're talking about. It's Wolf Toss the Rock. Our daily sponsor today, Kellen Solar, one of the gentlemen who owned that with his brother Corey, Derek Verheist, he chucked it. Hit all 7.
That was him.
$734.30 for nailing all 7. Derek from Kellen Solar. Unreal. 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. You can visit them at kellensolar.com and you can throw a football and hit a moving cart 7 times. That's pretty cool.
Nice. And win a few bucks. He did a great job. Obviously got 7 out of 7. But what the thing is with that contest too, Shink, is as I mentioned, they shoot off fireworks every time a football hits the cart, right? Well, he was 7 for 7. It was a little smoky, a little hazy actually after that 7 for 7 performance on the field.
Like an old bingo hall, but he got it done. Yeah. Good, Curtis. You got your finger up.
I have video of it. Just give me a second.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, get on that stream. Okay, while we're waiting, the other thing too, and another texter name is mistaking me. Oh, it's Clayton. Shout out Clayton. Good question. The other thing too that I kind of forgot about this is they're sitting Roland Milligan Jr. There were some incentives in play, Coulson.
Yeah, there was incentives for him being, I think, interception leader. Oh, there, Curtis got it up. Man of many talents.
Wow.
Yeah, so being interception leader, special teams leader, CFL All-Star, Division All-Star, and most outstanding player. A few $1,000 for each.
So I wonder if the ones that were still in play as of Saturday, if the team would have just said, "Hey, we got you.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We got you. We got a guy. We'll make sure you get that cash, but you ain't playing today."
Yeah, well, he was the interception leader, so he gets that one.
Gets that one.
Yeah.
Special teams leader. I don't even know what they go off that.
Maybe tackles, special teams tackles.
Tackles, yeah.
In which case he's got 20, and there's 2 guys ahead of him with 22. AJ Allen, one of them.
CFL All-Star, that'll be a no-brainer. He'll get that.
And he should be a Division All-Star, too.
Yeah.
So just MOP, which we're all rooting for anyways, so.
So there was some cash there. Yeah, so take a seat, Roland. We got you covered. You're gonna get your money. Do you have it yet, Curtis? Still, we have to. This is what we got to stall in the business. No, but that's
he's giving it a stretch. It
was a good comment by Clayton on that, but it looks like he's going to be covered off on the incentive thing. And let's be honest, Rider Nation, we would way rather have a healthy and have them sit instead of something stupid happens in football. Guy rolls over on the side, all of a sudden takes out his knee. Too many weird things can happen in that sport.
How many guys? Yeah, but even in football too, Shink, we've seen this a few times in the National Football League and the CFL. There's been some weird things going on. There's been a handful of guys that have destroyed their knees celebrating. Whether they jump up and they do that where they bounce off each other, hit their shoulders. There's been a couple guys in the NFL that have popped their knees on that and torn their MCL or their ACL. So if it can happen at that, it can happen in any type of play, right? Any type of fluke situation. And Roland Milligan Jr. is a guy you got to have, so he sits.
We might have to show the stream of Derek from Kellen Solar hitting those things a little bit later. I don't know if Curtis, you got it, Curtis? Okay, if you're watching the stream, here it is. Future quarterback. That is awesome.
Hey!
Client, sponsor of the show on Mondays, Kellen Solar.
Nice.
You go in there and
then,
speaking of, look at that. For sure you got to celebrate that.
Oh, yeah, and then he's celebrating with Mark Johnson from her sister station, The Play,
Yeah.
and he's, of course, the in-stadium host. Mark Johnson does a great job doing that, so he's high-fiving him all over him. Great job. Lots of fireworks, as you heard. It's a good promo.
That's good. $700 in his jeans. Probably ran up and grabbed a Pilsner or two after that.
Sure.
Exciting. That's an hour already. Keep those texts coming. Now, for the next hour, Riders. 306-936-6262. Just text in Riders. You got a chance to win 2 tickets to the West semi-final this Saturday. After the news with Andrew Dawson, we are going to have Eric Francis from Las Vegas. We're talking hockey. It's the All New SportsCage streaming at sportscage.com. Kellen Solar is the sponsor today. If you didn't catch the first hour of the program, owner of Kellen Solar, one of the owners, Derek Verheist, hit all 7 Wolf targets at the Rider game on Saturday. In the, what is it, Toss the Rock? Is that what the promo is? Toss the Rock. Congratulations. Good job. An hour in the books, an hour still to come. Eric Francis is standing by. We're going to get to him for Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks right away. We're going to talk Keniston. You know what? We're going to talk with him about the Keniston Super Draft, actually. I wanted to do this last week, and we got absolutely sidetracked, so we'll talk to him about that. Coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Corey Mace, supposed to join us at 4:40. If you have any questions that are radio worthy, Capital Ford Lincoln text line 306-936-6262. And then hour 3, we got Darian Durant. Bidsy, it is time to talk with the hoarder, Eric Francis.
It's time to talk hockey on the All New SportsCage with NHL analyst Eric Francis. Brought to you by Southie Mainline, the Mainline Automotive Group's newest king of trucks. Southie Mainline, just 30 minutes north of Regina. Worth the drive every time, guaranteed.
He's in Las Vegas. Eric Francis is joining us from Las Vegas. Give me were you a VRBO guy or are you a hotel guy? Give me a hint. I want to try and figure out where you're at.
I stay right on top of the action, literally. Like I stay in the casino where I like to gamble the most. I can say what hotel.
It's an MGM of some sort. Are you close to the rink?
Caesars.
If I were to turn my phone, it wouldn't help right now. But I'm
Park
looking
MGM.
at T-Mobile. I'm at New York. So I'm staring at T-Mobile right now. Like if the window was open, I could probably throw my drink glass and hit the building, but I won't do that.
Piano bar guy, maybe at New York, or what do you know? They got a great steakhouse there.
That piano bar is one of my favorite bars in the entire world. I've always loved that piano. The 2 ingredients you really need for a good piano bar, obviously you need some good pianists. That's kind of key. But you need people who are like loose and fun and having a good time and not afraid to stand up and act like a fool. And boy, oh boy, does that little piano bar have that in spades. Like, I've seen some crazy things in that, and I probably see some more tonight after the game.
Oh, am I jealous? Oh, I love that city. Though, Rick, the only problem about the piano bar is if you go there with, like, you want to have a conversation with people, it ends up getting too loud.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to go to be able to party and request, like, weird songs. I usually like to throw a Tragically Hip in there, and they do it for, like, 20 seconds. I'm like, but I gave you, like, $20. Like, that's like 50 Canadian. Come on, you can't do a little bit more of the song? Gallagher's Steakhouse is legit in New York. What's your game of chance? What do you like to play?
Well, I'm a blackjack guy. I play craps, but I prefer blackjack. And my new development here in Vegas, like, it's forever changing. And my drink of choice is rum and coke, but I really do like a espresso martini. Really kind of kicks it up a level. And now this has never happened. Like, in all the years I've been coming to Vegas, like,
Frozen
they've
Baileys.
never served those. They serve them at the tables now, like, gratis. I love the term, like, free drinks at a blackjack table. Like, that is not free. Like, you tip heavily and you're losing money just waiting for that next drink. And it was good. And last week we showed my Blockbuster card. I found it in my drawer, the hoarder that I am. Today's exhibit is my MGM. Oh, I can't show the number. I don't want people. It's my MGM rewards card. What a great concept. The more money you lose, the more points you get. It's a terrible idea. Man, I hate this card.
All I know is if Mrs. S is listening, my wife, she's wondering if an espresso martini on Monday is okay to have, because that's her drink of choice now too. It's like the big thing. It's the trend. It's the trend. You're close to the action there. Flames Golden Knights this evening. There's actually quite a few NHL games. What did I texted you earlier? It's like the Pro Sports Solstice. Is that what they call it? Where you got Major League Baseball playing, you got hockey playing, you got football and NBA playing. And actually, for a Monday, there's a number of NHL games. But are you? I don't want to say excited. Probably very curious to finally see the Golden Knights in person, because we talked about it last week. Like, they're deep.
Oh my God, they're deep. Like, I never miss a trip down to Vegas when the Flames are here. So I've been into this arena a million times. I tell people all the time, if you're doing a road trip, people ask me, like, if you could only do one road trip to the National Hockey League, it's a toss-up between Nashville and Vegas. The arenas are both incredible. There's actually an incredible tradition in the short history of both franchises in the stands. It's loud. Like, this is talking to the players today too. They like, there's no arena they prefer to play in than this one, because it's just such a loud, raucous party. But yeah, there's a team that is they're deep as hell. Interesting stat: like, 3 different guys on this team have taken turns leading the NHL in scoring already this season. Like, I think people would have probably guessed Eichel would be one of them, but right now Mark Stone is leading the NHL in points. Like, I never saw that coming. And Barbashev has also taken some time leading the league as well. So that's just symbolic of how deep they are. Like, on the blue line, they're deep. Like, Hanfin right now is their 3rd best defenseman. On any other team, when you sign him as a free agent or trade for him and then sign him long term, that's your diamond in the jewel. That's how deep they are, man. They're a good team. It'll be fun challenge tonight, because 2 teams have had really good starts.
You talk about the ultimate road trip, or one of the ultimate road trips in the NHL, Eric, being Vegas. Do they still have that incredible start pregame roll where there's a guy up in the stands and then he says this and that, and you are now a part? Like, is it all still a huge build up to the start of the game? A lot of theatrics?
Yeah, it's still a big production, and it ends up with some cheesy guy on the ice slaying like a flame or whatever the team, the visiting team is. He takes a sword and he puts it right through their heart, and the crowd goes nuts and the ice cracks, and they got all the special effects and smoke and mirrors, and it's pretty cool. And then we get underway, and it's just like it should be in Vegas, man. Like, as if there was a city that, it's funny, isn't it, how we look back and there were people who didn't know if this was going to work or certainly thought it had no chance of working. And like, it's just so funny that we weren't sure. And now it's just so obvious. Like, it's one of the biggest success stories in all of pro sports, the way the city's embraced it. And it'll be interesting to me how it changes over the years with the NFL here now. Like, the Golden Knights were the only team in town, and you could understand them rallying around it. But now that they have an NFL team, and I just passed by the Trop, they ripped down one of the last old school hotels here in Vegas. There's a big pile of rubble there, and a lot of history and dead bodies in that rubble, I bet you. And they're going to replace it with a baseball diamond. So, it even spreads the fan base out even thinner.
I got married there in the chapel.
Come on.
Yeah, 2 years ago. My wife and I renewed our vows back there. With our kids.
That is funny.
With our kids. Yeah.
Oh, my God. That is really funny.
Yeah, so then when they're ripping it down, I'm like, hey, it's historic for us. Yeah, but baseball's going to take over there. There's words that NBA is going to get there. The thing about Vegas, like we talked about the spectacle. I got to go to a game a couple weeks ago in Nashville. Yeah, that was cool. I'm going to put Madison Square Garden, though, in Vegas. One for me, anyway, 1 and 1A. When you go to a game there, and just on game day, like you're walking around the casinos, and a lot of the dealers, they got the Golden Knights gear on, and it's like, and you mentioned like when it first came there, everyone was like, Vegas, how's this going to go? They are like hockey crazy. And I guess having a winner obviously really helps out, and something for that city to rally behind, that's theirs. When you watch the Las Vegas Raiders play football, like the joke last week was it was a home game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the hockey rink, yeah, you're going to get the Oiler jerseys and the Habs jerseys and the Chicago jerseys and all that. But at the end of the day, they love their Vegas Golden Knights, Eric.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you, like you were alluding to, there's a traveling road show that comes with every team in the league, because every fan's like, wow, if I'm going to go watch my team play somewhere else, I might as well marry it with a chance to go get stupid in Vegas. And it has something for everybody. Like, talking to some of my colleagues today, like, they're not Vegas people. They know that I am Mr. Vegas. I love it here because there's something, you can go in any number of ways to enjoy your trip here. It could be a sports trip. It could be a show trip. Just come to do shows. It could be a gambling trip. It could be a drinking, golfing trip. Like, or you can marry all those in one, which so many people try to cram together, but throwing a hockey game in the middle of it. Like, I brought my family here. I used to make fun of people who bring little kids, and I'm still not sure it's a place for little kids, but I brought my teenage kids. We came to Taylor Swift here when it was her second concert ever as part of this tour, and I'm still paying for the tickets. And it was incredible because there was something for the kids to do. They couldn't come in the casino with us, but we just say, hey, kids, it's okay. You guys go play on the street. We're going to go, mommy and daddy and the friends are going to go gamble for a while and go to Chick-fil-A. Here's a couple bucks. Yeah, but you can pay at Chick-fil-A with chips, MGM chips. It's amazing. Wow.
Kids go play in the street. Kids go play in the street. I love it. Yeah. Here, go take those Tesla tunnels for 2 hours, and then we'll meet you at the convention center.
Yeah. It's funny. I was asking people. I'm like, we just told our teenage kids, like at 11 o'clock at night, just go out on Las Vegas Boulevard. Like, it's safe. It's well lit. There's lots of people there, and other people are like, you're the worst parent I've ever. That's terrible advice and terrible parenting. And I'm like, no, I think it was great. It worked out really well for everybody.
There's a lot of cameras there. There's a lot of security in Las Vegas. They're going to be completely fine. Eric, we always got this when we were in Arizona going to the Coyotes games, if it was Flames or Oilers or something. You always saw some Riders jerseys or Riders gear out there, too, because we, of course, don't have a team here in Saskatchewan. Do you see in Las Vegas, do you see some people going around with the Riders stuff there, too? It always seems to happen if there's Saskatchewan people at anything. They could be at a Manchester United game, and they're going to wear their Riders gear to the Manchester United game. It's awesome.
You see them at Flames games sometimes, for sure. I haven't noticed them here in Vegas, but now that you've said it, I'll look because there otherwise won't be any green jerseys in the crowd. What I'm kind of looking forward to is, we're so close to Halloween, and so people start to wear Halloween stuff to all the sporting events, across North America, which is always entertaining. And I'm sure in Vegas it'll be taken to another level with that in mind. And maybe there will be people dressed up as Rider fans. I don't know. I'll check it out.
There'll be Halloween costumes for sure, and there's always the people that want to be seen in their Halloween costumes, so they're like scantily clad and all
Some
that.
naughty nurses.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's brutal. Winnipeg Jets, like, are they for real? Speaking of one of the top places to go watch an NHL game and go on a trip, Winnipeg. But these Jets, they're absolutely rolling. They're playing the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. It's been 21,000 days, fellas. 21,000 days since the Toronto Maple Leafs last won a Stanley Cup.
Is that right, eh? Wow, I hadn't heard they'd been struggling for a while. Winnipeg was in town in Calgary on Saturday, and they're deep, and that was a hell of a game. The Flames gave them a pretty good test and came right down to the last 5 minutes, and a very controversial penalty on Kadri, who he was very, very he wasn't shy in ripping into the ref after the game. But anyway, they do have other layers, right? Like Cole Perfetti is another guy who's kind of that next wave of stars that I think they're going to have there. Obviously, they got the big boys. But one of the guys on that team that I think is almost symbolic of them taking this step to the top of the standings is Nikolai Ehlers. Like, everybody knows about Kyle Connor and everybody knows about Scheifele, but Ehlers is kind of that third wheel who's often on the second line and doesn't get kind of the notoriety, but he has pieced together an incredible season. And when he's on, he is just such a great hockey player. So, and obviously they got the goaltending, and Morrissey's running that power play, and they got some grit on the back end too. Like, I don't really see many holes in the Winnipeg Jets. I'm not suggesting they're going to, stay undefeated much longer or win the division even. I'm not sure, but they sure do have a lot of nice pieces, and it's nice for that city to have something to cheer about for a while, for a change.
I'm just looking at the leading. We had the Kenniston Super Draft deadline coming up here November 1st. I'm looking at the leading scorers, and in Winnipeg, they're spreading it out, right? You got Kyle Connor at 25th in the league with 10 points, and you got Scheifele with 10 points, and then you have Ehlers with 10 points. So there's not like the one runaway guy, which is a good sign if you're building a team with depth that can spread it around. Very curious how many games they can go for. Heck, as much as I don't like Winnipeg, except for Silver Heights and the Ribs, I hope they continue this streak. Who's gonna be the first coach fired this year? If you're a betting man, if that's something you could put down at the New York book.
Damn it! I meant to look into that more because I had a couple. It's always so, now you can just go through the bottom of the NHL standings and start to pick out guys who you think might not survive their horrible start. I'm certainly not pegging, anyone in Edmonton for getting the chop anytime soon. But you know what? I didn't put enough time into that. Can we do that on Wednesday?
Can Pittsburgh fire Sullivan?
Well, that's certainly a guy on the list for sure, and especially the way they've started. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't mind that one. I should say I don't mind. I don't want anyone to get fired. I hate seeing that. But when they were in town last week, Pittsburgh, there was a practice. We were watching the practice, and Sullivan just stopped 2 or 3 times and just was laying into the guys, screaming at him and it was pretty apparent just to our naked eye that the guys weren't really putting a whole lot of effort into it. And that's almost a sign, right, that they finally had enough of them and tuned them out. I don't know if that's the case, but their window's running out with those guys, and it's a hodgepodge there. I could see him definitely being near the top of that list.
Okay, Eric, before we let you go, I don't want to look past the Las Vegas. Of course, that'll be a good test for the Flames. Will be a good game. But we were talking about Utah last week, so let's bring up your trip to Utah. Do you have your speakeasy card that you're going to go to that hidden underground, knock 5 times on the back door? The guy slides the little thing open, looks at you through there when you get to Salt Lake.
We have some plans. Our broadcaster in Calgary, John Abbott, is a new guy, and it's the rookie dinner.
Okay.
But I just assumed that meant we were going to buy him dinner, but then I remember, of course, the rookie dinner means that the rookies get stuck with the bill. Yep. So I'm still. We have a reservation at one of the finest steakhouses there, but I want to take it up a level. Like if this kid's paying for it, we gotta really stick him with as big a bill as possible. I was at Mastro's last night here in Vegas, which is. I wish he paid for that one last night. I really do, but we split it. Him and I split it. Anyway, no. Well, I'd be happy to report on the trouble we get into in Utah on Wednesday because there will be speakeasies, there will be beverages, and there will be a rookie paying for all of it, which makes me so happy.
I'm very curious to find out what the nightlife is like in Utah after or before a hockey game. Last week, the one thing I wanted to, before I let you go too, McDavid says Crosby should be the captain of Canada for the Four Nations Cup. Is that the logical choice? Do you see that happening? Anybody else and throw their hat? Or will they give it to McDavid?
No, they can't give it to McDavid. It's Crosby's team. I agree with that. And I think it's such a wonderful gesture that McDavid was the one who said this, which makes it so easy for management and to give it to Crosby. Look, it's not just because of the player he is right now, because he's not the best player in the world right now, but he's up there. But it's because of all that he's done in the past. And those guys all in that room look up to him. Hey, they look up to McDavid too. He'll wear an A for sure. But I just think it's so wonderful that McDavid had the presence to say, no, this is not my captaincy. This is not my team. This is Sid's team. McDavid will wear the captaincy when we get to the Olympics and moving forward. But this might just be the last chance for Sid to wear the captaincy, and I love it. I think it's great.
All right. Jealous. Have so much fun in Vegas after the game.
Yeah.
Have fun at the case. So don't request these ones at the piano bar. Piano Man, Don't Stop Believin', Sweet Caroline, Brown Eyed Girl, Friends in Low Places, Bohemian Rhapsody, Baby Got Back. Don't request any of those because they're overplayed. If you can, I'll pay for it when you get back. Request The Look by Roxette and video it for me. Seriously, big Roxette
challenge.
Guy. Big Roxette guy.
As opposed
he's
to
a
all
big
the other
Roxette guy.
songs.
Yeah. Well, you can go dangerous. You can go dangerous if you want, or dress for success. Okay, let's do this again Wednesday from Utah.
See you, boys.
See ya.
See you, pal.
Our NHL insider, Eric Francis, live in Las Vegas as the Golden Knights take on the Flames. I was shocked, Bidsy, on how many NHL games there was tonight. Because usually Monday Night Football, right? The NHL doesn't want to go.
Yeah,
then you got baseball. Major League Baseball. Ohtani walked in. I just saw it. Oh, he's walking into the stadium. Looks like he might play. It didn't look good after he slid into second base in Game 2. And then there's NBA tonight too. So it's Pro Sports Solstice, as they call it, or Equinox. It's Pro Sports Equinox. Everything is on the go there. Yeah.
Ohtani is supposed to play. Ohtani is supposed to play in Game 3. Yeah, he is penciled into the starting lineup.
That changes things. That really changes things.
A little more dramatic.
Yeah, and then Erickson. So Keniston Super Draft, November 2nd is the deadline. We have currently 10 players on the SportsCage sheet. So one 32-player super draft, $40. You got a chance to win $20,000 large in this. There's a number of different offers. The one that I go in with a couple of guys, if Lotto Lawrence up in Saskatoon's listening, 7 32-player drafts for $200. So you got a couple of buddies, you chip in and you go after it. Then you got the Super 8 at the bottom if you want to do that extra value. But we're down to 10 players. So he talked about the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and we have Jack Eichel and William Karlsson. Now, Karlsson's just coming back. I think we should take Barbashev. Maz didn't want to do it on Friday, but what the heck does Maz know about hockey? I think I'm boxing in Barbashev. He plays, and how do you not take Mark Stone?
Well, exactly. I mean, and that's a guy, too, that Eric Francis was just saying that, you didn't see him where he is right now, but he is. He's on a heater, and, he's one of those guys, too. He's got he's got a great attitude. As long as he stays healthy, he does all the right things. He's that's the one, of course. But, yeah, he's a guy that just does all the right things, has the work ethic, the respect of the room. You just see him, as long as he's healthy, carrying that forward. If he's off to a good start right now, this could be the year for him to really be up there near the top all year, as long as he can, knock on wood, stay healthy.
Okay, so we also wrote in, because you can write in players that aren't in the boxes. So we got 12 picks so far. We wrote in Pietrangelo from Vegas. Now, I'm going, while we're doing this, we have to go to Colorado. We only have Nathan McKinnon. Cale Makar's second in the league right now in scoring with 16 points. We are boxing off Makar to make 13 players. Do we take another Colorado Avalanche share? Who else? Panarin and the New York Rangers. I'm boxing in Panarin too.
It's funny that you say Cale Makar, because I was going to mention that the other day too. And part of the reason I say that is because this summer I saw Cale Makar at the Kananaskis golf course, and I talked to him for a little bit, and because I knew one of the guys that he was with, and I said, after he said, yeah, no, nice to meet you, whatever, he didn't really care to meet me, but I said, taking you in the draft this year, I'm taking you in my fantasy pool, and he gave me the thumbs up, whatever. Probably heard that all the time. But anyway, it's just funny that you say that. And now here we are. I'm making good on it. Cale Makar.
We do. We have Makar crossed off. I also boxed in, like I said, Panarin. So we got a couple more days to get this going. It's a Keniston Super Draft, North America's largest hockey draft. $20,000 up for grabs for first place. $90,000 total cash. You can find everything at superdraft.com. You can follow along throughout the year. You play along. There's some $1,000 week-long prizes that you're in for, and you can see how the Sports Cage does. Like I said, if the Sports Cage wins or wins any cash, it goes to charity. So that's always good. It is the All New SportsCage. Still to come, the Coaches Show. We're going to be joined by head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Corey Mace. If you're watching that stream, sportscage.com on YouTube. And as always, we are on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Welcome back. Waiting for Coach Mace to join us here on the All New SportsCage on Mondays for Kellen Solar. 35 years. Experience moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation, or if you just need solar for your house or, business nowadays. A lot of people are doing that. Go out and vote today. Have you voted yet, Bidsy?
Going right after the show, actually. Andrea, the lovely Andrea, and I are going to go vote right after I'm done with Sports Cage. Get out and vote, as you said, though. Be a part of the process.
I got to do that before 8 o'clock. I planned on doing it earlier today, and things just went sideways. We talked about Friday Night Lights coming up this Friday again for Regina Motor Products, $20 off tire changeover. It is getting to that season where you got to have your winter tires on. Locally in the Regina 6A, a couple of upsets, Laboldis and Campbell moving in to the final. And we got a nice message here from at our email, hi@sportscage.com. That's hi@sportscage.com. If you got anything when it comes to sports that we're missing or want to shout out or whatever, send it in there. We'll try and give it to you. That's where everyone's doing the Friday Night Lights thing for the year. And it mentions hats off to the referees in chief that are making things happen for high school football playoffs around the province. Because there's some really good points in this that the refs, they don't get paid. Most of them, it's like a volunteer position. Don't get paid a lot. And then, you got travel. I don't even know if they get a food allowance, all that. And there isn't a lot of refs out there. And you got to be on your toes to be any kind of official, any sport. Mm-hmm. But in football, like you got to know what you're doing. You got to, obviously got to be brushed up on the rules, a lot coming at you and all that. So just a really good shout out, a nice email here. I think it's around the Wynyard area where this gentleman's from. They got 5 of a 7-man crew, or just some of the names. He sent in names. I don't want to butcher their names. But yeah, those refs, that's kind of one of the things that goes forgotten a lot of times is, a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen if there's enough people out there volunteering.
That's right. And if you make it harder and harder and harder, who's going to want to keep doing this, right? Or who's going to be the next generation to do it? So just realize they're out there, they're doing their best, and they're trying to just facilitate the game that your kids can have memories from forever. They're not out there trying to decide the outcome or help one side win over the other. They're just trying to do their best. So if anything, after the game when they're walking off, give them a pat on the back or something, or say thanks.
Yeah.
Just say thanks.
I know it's hard, right? Especially if there's a team that loses a close one. There were a couple of close, I think 6-a-side, 9-a-side games that we'll run down maybe a little bit later here when it comes to high school football. But yeah, say thanks to the refs that are out there grinding away, doing the high school football as that winds down and we go to crown provincial champs in all different sectors of high school football. Like we said, we are now joined out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, plus all the Greek food like souvlaki, ribs, and salad. Just you can't make that stuff at home. Call your local Western Pizza tonight because there's baseball, hockey, football, and basketball on. There's a lot. Head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Corey Mace, is joining us. Coach, I know it's always busy for you, but we totally appreciate you taking some time here to hop on the Sports Cage.
No, I appreciate you guys, man. Love what you guys do, and it was good. I was getting buried into that computer there for quite some time now, so it's a good little mental break.
Yeah, no, that's right. You've been around the game a long time, playing, coaching, all that. We know we've got some people messaging in here and all that. Let's be honest. You guys are watching that game in Montreal between the Bombers and the Owls and how it goes down, weird fashion. Like, it would be extremely hard for a professional athlete, even for an amateur athlete, to kind of rev things back up when you're watching that go down.
It's just you got to control your emotions, and we knew there's a couple situations obviously that could have happened just based off of that game, and we were prepared either way. But obviously, the way the guys performed, and we had some different guys in there, obviously, getting some looks, but it was good for us. But we obviously wish we could have performed a little bit better, obviously. So, but it's probably some human nature, but we're trying to avoid those kind of things. We want to be able to respond to the standard that we hold for ourselves. So, we watched it, we flushed it. We're on to the big dog.
Yeah. Hey, I'm wearing my New England Patriots shirt today. It's probably only going to be the last time this year I can wear it because they actually won, but it's like on to Cincinnati. We're on to BC. I love it. When you won your Grey Cups, coaching, even back maybe in your playoff days going into the playoffs, like what kind of things do you pull that you learned on both sides of that, gearing up that week before playoffs? Because everyone will say, well, you play hard in the regular season, but that postseason, right? Because it's one and done. Like, what kind of things do you pull as far as experiences go?
Yeah, I think that the obvious is everybody knows what's at stake, and really it just pushes the focus and the detail of your preparation throughout the week, and senses are heightened, the environment's heightened, obviously. With how, the league puts on the games. There's extra cameras, obviously. Fans are going to be freaking roaring. I hope so. I want this thing packed.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a heightened sense. But, what we told the guys is, regardless of, what anybody's done this season, playoffs it's a clean slate, man. And any team in the dance has a shot to win, a legit shot. You've seen it from teams in the past who hoist the cup, who finished 500 or less in the season, found their way in there and made a run for it. And on the flip side, you see teams that are, outstanding through the season and kind of fumble the ball, for lack of a better term. So everybody's got to be detail-oriented in what they do. But myself, the staff, the guys are elated, man. We're just so happy we can bring a playoff game back here to Saskatchewan, to see our fans and hear our fans and get these things rolling, because I mean, shoot, we can get the other team going backwards and using silent cadence just off of the noise we create, man. It's just such an advantage. I'm excited. Heard nothing but great things about it. Looking to level up, for our fan base and Rider Nation to come support and rock with the team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an awesome one, Corey. Looking forward to the noise and the home field advantage for sure in that game against the Lions coming up for you all on Saturday. We'll take out the last game. We'll take it out of it because that was such an odd anomaly, of course, for you all, and having it kind of, I guess, decided, or where you're going to finish in the regular season decided before the start of that game. But if we take that out of it, do you feel you've been around some great teams, as Barney mentioned before, championship teams? Are you feeling that kind of feeling around the group as you moved through this season and got you to where you are now? Are you feeling that everybody is coming together and that positive energy in that locker room and everybody's kind of hitting where they should be as you guys go into this rematch with BC in the Western semifinal from a few weeks ago when you managed to take them at home 39-8?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel, it's a marriage of a lot of things. A lot of the guys that we had earmarked as, starters, everybody's getting healthy at the right time of year. Continuity for the last few weeks has been outstanding. It just allows you to level up. But, throughout this year and, first year of a new regime, new team, everybody's, getting to know each other. This is it's incredible, the bond that this team has and the belief that we have in each other. And really, you get that through tough times. And certainly we saw some of those, throughout the season. And to see how he responded out at the back end of the season there, it speaks to the guys in the locker room, man, and just, the culture and the atmosphere that they've created amongst themselves. And I'm telling you, everybody's really excited. We're pumped for what's ahead of us. So, step one is obviously here at Mosaic. We got to do our part. Obviously, Rider Nation's got to do their part and keep this thing rolling, man.
I don't want to single out any coaches by any means, but I've wanted to ask you all year, how do you describe the job that Edwin Harrison's done with that offensive line this year? Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, this is rare. It's rare in any given year. But for Ed, who we call the Coach of the Year, the whole team we call him Coach of the Year. The injuries that he's had to deal with at that position, and being able to roll guys in there, get them prepared to go out and execute each week. And you look at it that you would expect, having that many starters being rotated at that position, that your quarterback's going to be pretty banged up and dirty. But we've finished fairly well in keeping our quarterback upright. Our offense still moved efficiently. Even the games that didn't turn out in our favor, they came down to the wire. We'll be better for that. Now the guys are getting healthy. We feel like we have good options, and certainly young guys who got probably more experience than they anticipated. Going into the future of the organization as well, I think helps. But it takes time from a coach's standpoint, to make sure that you not so much settle and simplify, but just know your guys and get them in the right position to succeed. And Ed's done an outstanding job with that.
Okay, we got two more. Bidsy, you got one. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Coach, you talked a little bit about the job that Edwin Harrison has done this year, reflecting back on the year that was, now that the regular season is done. Are there any points to this season that you can look back on now that you can say, that was a turning point for us, that was a big moment for us?
I think the main one was, coming back off the bye versus Calgary, September 20th, just to kind of get that off of our back, the crappy streak that we were on. And just seeing what that felt like and how it galvanized the room. The belief was still high, but finally the work that we put in, it paid off. And then certainly I thought, just to solidify that all things were firing, the game that we turned versus BC as well. I thought that was excellent. So those are probably two that jump out right away. But there's a ton. Even to be honest with you, some of the ones that didn't turn in our favor, to see how we respond in adversity. A lot of teams turn on each other and it shuts the season down. This group did the exact opposite. which was incredible to see. That's when you knew as a coaching staff that the recipe, the ingredients to the recipes in the room. So it was nice to see.
Okay, so we talked about it a lot. We need Rider Nation at this one. We need them behind. Take the people through what it means to have that home field crowd behind you, the snap counts, everything's harder for that opposition that comes in here. Maybe paint the picture that people that don't know, when you're in the trenches, when you're down there and that crowd's roaring, what it means.
Well, certainly, I mean, from a defensive standpoint for the good guys, it's such an advantage for the home team. Offenses, everything's based off of timing, communication, pre-snap. If they can't speak, they got to do stuff, hand signals, and it's not as fluid, which in turn gets teams moving backwards because they're taking penalties or they're busting their plays because they can't communicate. What's happening mid-play. Quarterback's communication with his offensive line, with his receivers, his back. It's an eraser. It really is. So I've heard nothing but crazy stuff about this place. I've been in playoff games as a player here. I remember what that was like and how difficult that was for our teams, as an opposition. Just incredibly excited to hear the home province. We're doing this as a team. They're definitely part of the team, man. So I know if everything goes right and the way we want to, we get to celebrate the last game of the year. We want to celebrate it with everybody in Rider Nation. So but we're going to need you to get there, man. Really looking forward to it. Right on,
Coach. Like you said, you're nose deep into the computer. You're a busy guy. We appreciate you time. Hey, congratulations on everything. A lot of people kind of forget too. This is your first year. This is the group's first year here. Much respect to what you guys have done and making yourself available for us today.
I appreciate you guys so much, man. Appreciate what you guys do. Go Riders.
Yeah, you got it. Head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Corey Mace. He's telling it. There it is. He's throwing it out there. We got to get in that stadium. We got to have a packed stadium Saturday against the Lions. He just explained it, what it means, what it does to the opposition. VA doesn't want to deal with that smoke. The Lions are like, please, Rider Nation, stay at home. Stay sleeping. No.
Watch it on TV. Don't come to the stadium. Watch it on TV.
It's going to get loud.
For sure.
They should bring back the regional blackout.
Yeah. That would get everybody down there for sure. That would definitely make a sellout anyway. Make it a sellout for sure. But yeah,
Colson doesn't like that idea. What's not to like about it? Get people in the barn.
Well, I can't watch the game, obviously.
Go to the game.
I have to sit here and work it, man.
Well, we can get you some sort of stream from the stadium. You're an anomaly. You're different.
Yeah,
you're special.
Special feed.
You're special. But I'm talking about the regular people. Gotta stay at home and watch it. No. Regional blackouts back to hey, if I become commissioner.
Once again, another thing on the table. Here we go. Regional blackouts and Grey Cup in the first week of October.
Resumes. I'm going to fax it. Where would I fax? We got to take a break. Colson's losing his mind. It's All New SportsCage on the home of the provincial football crew. 620 CKRM. Welcome back here. Almost 2 hours in the books. Hour 3 is going to start with double talk. Darian Durant. As always, it's brought to you by Prairie Land Rentals here in Regina, right on Albert Street, and Wolf Industries. A couple other housekeeping things. We're giving away rider tickets to the West semifinal. I got to text in 936-6262 riders to that number, and you are in for a pair of tickets to the game Saturday. You just heard from Coach Mace. We need that place jumping. We need it loud, and everything that comes along with Rider Nation behind this team on Saturday. There's some great ticket options as well. You want to take the whole family. You got the beer, $5 pregame beers. That's beautiful. And they're doing everything in Harvard 620 Lounge. It's not in the park coming up Saturday, so Harvard 620 Lounge is going to be buzzing with activity. It'll be a lot of fun. So get your tickets for the West semifinal against BC. We need to make it loud in there. VA, we need to make them all freaked out. Who knows? Do we see Nathan Rourke if he stumbles? There's a good question. Text message came in. And I got another vote for commissioner, boys. Really like the idea of ending at Canadian Thanksgiving, CFL season. April and May, nice to play preseason. Might throw the old name in the hat. So one more hour on the program to come. Darian Durant, it's Barney, Shynkaruk, Derek Bidwell, Colson, and Curtis. It's the All New SportsCage streaming at sportscage.com. On Mondays, it is for Kellen Solar. 35 years of experience in moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. Derek Bidwell, Barney Shynkaruk, Curtis and Colson. Soon to be joined by Darian Durant for our weekly segment of Double Talk with Darian. And pick his brain on that game Saturday. But we talked to Coach Mace about 20 minutes ago. You can go back and listen to it in podcast form. He said we flushed it. It's gone. Mm-hmm. Grabbed a couple things off the tape, flushed it, and we're on. Like I said, I'm wearing my, if you're watching the stream, New England Patriots paraphernalia. Because this might be the last time.
Understated. It's not too flashy. That's a nice one.
A classy one. They used to wear this a lot back when they were winning.
Shoulder stripes look good.
This might be the last time this year I can wear it. Coming off a win, all you New York Jet fans out there, time to find a new team. Let's be honest. That's sad.
I didn't mind that because the reason I didn't mind that is because I didn't mind him when he was with the Green Bay Packers. I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and my little sister lives in Wisconsin, so I kind of became a bit of a fan going there. And I haven't gone to any games yet, but did a couple of tours of Lambeau Field, and man, it's a pretty cool shrine to football, that place for sure. But I started to become a fan of them, and then when Aaron went to New York, I don't know, I just kind of. I kind of almost felt like I wouldn't mind seeing him lose. Plus, Aaron, to me, became, I don't know, a little more smug, if you will, when he went there. And, it's just a guy I'm not rooting for. So it was kind of fun to see more Patriots with.
Yeah, we'll talk to Darian about that later when we talk. It's time. He's online. Let's get him.
The All New SportsCage presents Double Talk with Darian Durant. Brought to you by Wolf Industries, your truck repair specialist in Grenfell. Servicing all sizes of trucks, SGI accredited. And Prairie Land Rentals. Whether it's for the farm or the backyard, Prairie Land Rentals can help with all sizes of jobs.
Doubles. How's it go? Come on, let's just start it off. Let's be right up front. Let's be honest. That outcome in Montreal, if you're back in your playing day, you're watching this tornado roll in, and then it finishes like that. Castillo hits a field goal. How deflated are you? What is your mindset? Are you saying, you know what, maybe just sit me out of this one?
When you see things like that, you finally believe in the football gods. You know, that's one of the times where the football gods showed up for sure, and they were definitely on Winnipeg's side, man. I mean, if that's not the luckiest play or weather circumstance in football that I've ever seen, it's that. So they have to be thinking they're lucky stars.
How hard would it have been to get revved up if you're a rider for that game, seeing what happens an hour before?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Even if they would have lost and, you secured the first place, you still it would have been tough getting up for that game as well. So, but after seeing that, just feeling like the game was over and almost being able to touch that home field advantage, it had to be deflating. I mean, Coach Mace did a great job of keeping his cool on TV with the cameras on him, but I'm sure inside he was just burning hot. So, kudos to him for keeping his emotions in check.
Speaking of emotions, though, talk about a roller coaster of emotions, right? Because when Castillo misses, you think you'd be thinking, Darian, like, all right, let's strap it on. Here we go. And then all of a sudden, oh, no, there's still some more time. Oh, this happened, that happened. All right, good luck, guys, because now I'm back out of this one again. Like, it was up and down, right?
Well, I mean, you learn quick when you come to the Canadian Football League that, so many possession changes could happen within the last 2 minutes. If your defense buckles down and gets you a 2-and-out, anything can happen. And the punt return before that, Lucky Whitehead, he returned it about 50, 60 yards. So, if you're Winnipeg, you always believe that if you can get a stop, you have guys in positions that can make plays. And, this time it was just the weather who made the play for Winnipeg.
Oh, do you take anything that we just talked to Coach Mace, and you know what? There's not a lot of good tape to watch there, but do you take anything good from that game? Maybe is it young Jack Cohn getting in, or a chance to get in and sling it a bit, or what do you take from that game, Darian?
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. You want to get some guys some experience, guys who, the preseason tempo is a lot different than a regular season tempo, and to get some guys some experience against a team like Calgary who's playing full speed, who has their starters in. And he definitely got some good, valuable experience, something that you can't teach. So it was good to see. He made some plays, and I'm just glad that everyone came out, especially the starters. I know Schaefer Baker played majority of the game, and the offensive line and a couple guys on defense. So it was just good to see guys come out healthy, and, you can get ready for playoff football.
So now looking ahead, Darian, to the BC Lions and the West semifinal. Coach Mace called it out there. He just said, you know what, let's pack the place. This is something that, of course, the team was fighting for all year, to have a home playoff game. We all know how strong Rider Nation is. You know that better than anybody else. So maybe just your thoughts on how great this can be for the home team, of course, to have earned this home playoff game now and have Rider Nation behind them.
Yeah, it's when that place is packed, there's no better stadium in Canada for sure. And Rider fans have such an impact on games, false start penalties, just making it tough on offenses. And, it can really, really, really be a huge home field advantage. So, I'm with Coach Mace on that. I would love to see a packed out stadium. Just the enthusiasm needs to be back. This is a huge game against a tough BC team who's coming in hot, I think, from Vernon Adams having a great game against Montreal, and just getting that chemistry that they built with the receivers earlier in the season. They're going to come in with some confidence, so the crowd can play a huge factor.
How do I put this? Does BC have more tape on the Riders and what the Riders can do from the last few months than the Riders have on VA, even though he beat us early in the season?
Yeah, I would say so, because VA hasn't played, a lot of meaningful football towards the end of the season. So you're still kind of, figuring out what offense fits him, what style of plays would fit him better. And, the last time he played the Saskatchewan defense, he had a lot of success as well. So, with Nathan Rourke being in there, it's kind of hard to study BC. You have to go back to the beginning of the season and study when Vernon Adams was in the game. So with Saskatchewan, you know what you're going to get. And, I'm sure BC and Ryan Phillips and that coaching staff, they know how to prepare. And, I think we're setting up for a very, very good West semifinal game coming up this weekend.
Would you change anything week leading into the playoffs for yourself, Darian? Would there be an extra focus maybe on a few different things? Would you change anything?
I think what you would look for now is just tendencies, right? I think when you look at 18 games of film on certain guys, now I'm looking at a corner or his depth or, a linebacker's depth, or, where guys are, because they're set into, the positions they're going to be in and how they're going to play certain coverages at this point. So I will just be looking for different tips, things like that can make my reads easier. And who knows, you can pick up on one thing that you didn't notice during the regular season that could lead to a touchdown or a big play during the game that could just totally change the course of the game. So those are some of the things I will be focused on right now if I'm Trevor and the Rider coaching staff.
Of course, the last time the Riders and the Lions met was at Mosaic Stadium, and the Riders won that one easily, 39-8. But do you almost look at that game, Darian, as a little bit of a one-off? Like, that's not the real BC Lions?
I definitely would. I mean, especially offensively. We all have talked about the struggles of Nathan Rourke, this season, and that offense that we've seen with him is a completely different offense with Vernon Adams. Vernon Adams stretches the field. You can just tell with the speed that he has, and Hatcher and McInnes, he led the league in receiving. He's just a different quarterback. He's a down the field guy. And, if you're a DB, you have to be on your P's and Q's this week, because a lot of those 50-50 balls that, Nathan Rourke won't throw, Vernon Adams will throw them up to those big receivers. So, you're one play away or one situation away from a big play when you're dealing with a quarterback like VA. And there's something you have to think about in that defensive backfield.
At what point, let's put ourselves, put yourself in the shoes of the BC Lions. At what point does weather become a factor? It's supposed to be +4 Saturday, but once that sun starts to go down, it's going to dip quick. It'll be closer probably to freezing at some point in the game. Does that make a difference, or at what point weather-wise does it start to make a difference for players that aren't accustomed to it, Doubles?
I really don't think temperature matters. It's all about wind. And, the speed of wind out there in Saskatchewan, man, that's the most important thing. If it's a little chilly and there's no wind, guys can easily adapt to that. But when it's windy and you come off the field and you feel that breeze just blow through your shoulder pads, that can affect you. So if it's no wind, I think, that's advantage BC, because, they like to air it out. Stanback didn't have as good of a season as I'm sure he liked. But if there's no win, BC is a 70% passing team, and I think it's to their advantage.
Let's spend some the last few minutes here on the NFL. Hail Mary yesterday, Washington, Chicago. Oh, if you're a Bears fan, unfortunate. There it is. If you're watching the stream, you see it. Take us through. Have you ever completed one of these? And what's the mindset for the quarterback when it comes Hail Mary time?
Yeah, I actually did in high school. My senior year of high school, we're in the playoffs, actually.
Wow.
And we're down 5. Yeah, we're down 5, and it's like 3 seconds left, and I just tossed it up about 55 yards in the air, and one of our guys just came down with it. It's just luck, man. But in this case, Jaden Daniels just buying so much time, allowing the defense to get displaced, knowing that his guys are going to be in the right spots. And you can see the catch there. That's just a guy who's taught to just, sit behind, and you're the tip ball guy. You're just waiting on the tip ball. This played out perfectly for the offense and the Commanders, and it's just one of those things. Aaron Rodgers has made a name for himself of being a Hail Mary thrower, but the way Jaden Daniels executed this play was just amazing.
Speaking of A-Rod, what's the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL, Dallas or the New York Jets?
Oh man.
I know your brother played in Dallas, so maybe sorry.
No, I would have to say Dallas, and I would say Dallas because you could just see it coming with Jerry Jones in charge, right? I mean, you play hardball with CeeDee Lamb and Dak, and then what do you do as soon as the season starts? You sign them. If you're gonna sign the guys and you know that, just sign them in the offseason so you don't have to deal with everything that comes with it. So I just don't like the way Dallas is handling their contract situations. You could have gotten a guy like Derrick Henry. You could have, solidified the defense, got some linebackers in there. I mean, the main thing is just a running game for Dak. I think you saw early in his career, when Ezekiel Elliott was in his prime, if he had a 100-yard rusher or if he didn't throw the ball over 20, 25 times, he has like a 75% win record. So for Jerry to just drop the ball in that case, I think is worse because, let's think about it. I didn't have too high of expectations for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I always felt like the Bills were the best team in that division. And, of course, I didn't expect the Jets to be this bad, but I really didn't have high expectations. I know what it's like coming off an Achilles. It takes time to get your feet back under you. Aaron Rodgers was known for extending plays and making plays with his legs, and he's not able to. You can tell that he's not comfortable doing that right now. A part of that is age as well. So, But I think a year removed from your Achilles, you're stronger, you feel more confident, and I think you can still see some good football out of Aaron Rodgers moving forward once he gets his feet under him, a little bit more.
Last one for me, Darian, a quick one here. So you talked about dumpster fires. Who's out there that's a disaster? Who is out there that you've really enjoyed and been surprised with how well they're doing thus far?
Well, I have to start with the Commanders. Who would have thought that they'd be sitting where they are, with Jaden Daniels, who was kind of a journeyman in college, and no one expected him to come to the Commanders, who was such a bad franchise and had some struggles under Ron Rivera and made a coaching change as well. So a first-year quarterback, first-year head coach to be, on top of the division is amazing. And, I keep going back to the Minnesota Vikings, man. I just think that, Sam Darnold, he took his lumps in Carolina. He was with a bad New York Jets team. Good quarterback, but he just took his time. He learned. He went to San Francisco, learned from Shanahan, and he's bringing all that knowledge to Minnesota. And he just has those guys playing such great football right now.
There are some Denver Bronco fans out there that are just like, come on, Darian, say Denver. Say no one expected Denver.
Russell Wilson didn't play that bad last year. All the games were close. He had his, if you look at his 2 years in Denver, he had his best year. And, so I'm not surprised by Denver. Sean Payton's a hell of a coach, and I think that they'll always be steady. They'll always be in contention. But who would have thought that Washington and Minnesota would be playing as well as they are right now? That's why I give those guys the nod.
Last one. Do we put any stock in Baltimore losing to Cleveland, or is Baltimore still a wagon? Baltimore going to be there at the end?
Yeah, Baltimore's still a good team, man. I think, they just ran into a tough Cleveland team. And I was just talking to my brother yesterday. Jameis Winston was a number 1 overall pick. He's a national champion. He's a guy that can play football. And, I look at Sam Darnold and him, kind of the same. When you go to a bad situation, you learn from those situations. And as you get older, you play better football. And you can see that Browns offense just look just night and day better with Jameis Winston over Deshaun Watson. It's crazy. But, I wouldn't put anything past Cleveland. They were a playoff team last year with Joe Flacco, so they're a good team.
Yeah, that was crazy. Joe Flacco sitting on the bench for Indy right now being like, just put me in. I can win us this game. And they didn't. Pittsburgh and the Giants tonight. Steelers?
Yeah, Steelers for sure. Russell Wilson looked good last week. I think he'll pick up right where he left off. And the Giants are just catching so much hell from not signing Saquon Barkley. I think it's just downhill for the rest of the season for those guys. Wow.
New York football fans are in a tough one. New York sports writers and stuff, good year for them because they get to write about these 2 dumpster fires. But, football fans. All right, Doubles, I know your kids are busy and you got things going on down there. Appreciate it. Go Riders, right? We want to talk on Monday.
Riders.
We want to tee up that Winnipeg game. Yeah, it should be a big one.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Right.
Thanks, Darian.
Double talk. Darian Durant for Wolf Industries in Grenfell. And the Husqvarna dealer, if you're looking for a snowblower when it starts to fly, Prairieland Rentals on Albert Street in Regina. Deal with the owner. It's the All New SportsCage. I'll take a quick break. If you're watching that stream, thank you very much. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and sportscage.com. 936-6262. The word is riders. If you want to be in for a chance to win 2 tickets to the big semifinal matchup, Mosaic Stadium, Saturday. Get in on it. Might as well. We're giving away tickets. Why wouldn't a guy or a girl? NHL hockey's on right now. Edmonton Oilers fans, you're down 2-0 to the Columbus Blue Jackets a little over halfway through the first period of play. We are going to run, if you missed it, we had Coach Mace on. We get everything in podcast form. You can go back and watch the stream in my New England Patriots shirt today, right? Because they won.
Very proud guy you are.
Oh, I didn't expect him. I'm telling you, I said it when I started this, the NFL season started. When the Patriots win, I'll wear Patriots gear on the Monday. This might be the last time that I get to wear something this year. So almost went hoodie guy. And I'm like, nah, it's not that cold yet. I'll go. But yeah, there's a lot of hockey tonight. There's NFL football, there's basketball, and there's Major League Baseball. It's the Pro Sports Equinox. Doesn't happen. First one was in 1971. I think 31 times it has happened. The other useless stat that I picked up today while I was having my morning coffee, 21,000 days since the Toronto Maple Leafs have won the Stanley Cup. Sorry,
something that Leafs fans, love to talk about. Yeah, they'd love to hear updates like that, right?
We got a call because we got listeners from everywhere, especially around Sasky. We absolutely love you. Thank you so much when you chime in. But we just got a call from Dave in Hoboken, New Jersey. Now I've spent a night in Hoboken, New Jersey, just across the water. It's kind of when you don't have enough money when you're younger and you want to go to the city, you want to go to Manhattan, but you don't want to pay those prices. So you're trying to look for a place to stay around that you could be safe, that you can wake up in the morning. And
that was the scenario?
Hoboken was the first one. First time. Dave wanted, what was his question, Coulson?
He and his buddies want to know which U.S. state, and I'd personally expand this to the provinces of Canada as well, would make the best pool table shape.
I feel like this is an inside joke. Is it?
I have no idea, but I am legitimately like, if you're going for just a basic
Colorado.
shape, yeah, Colorado or Saskatchewan, it gives you a square rectangle, pretty easy one, right? But I'm also thinking, like, if you're playing on the New York state-shaped pool table, what happens when you get the cue ball stuck in Long Island?
Yeah. Well, speaking, you ever driven like Long Island Expressway? It's always joked about in like Seinfeld and shows like that. Absolute disaster. We go to play Bethpage golf course a couple times, and that flight lands, and then if you're staying in Long Island, it's like you get a taste of the Long Island Expressway. It's like, why would you ever do this? No wonder everyone is so angry. That whole eastern seaboard is clustered. Love visiting. Not too sure I'd want to live there. Then there's the other thing. Penn State to MetLife Stadium. It goes through Secaucus. That is the Secaucus, New Jersey. There's a layover there. Guzzled a couple pints because there's a little bit of a layover, right? So the boys are getting ready for going to the football game in MetLife, and you're taking the train. It's like you run out, grab a couple of tall boys. They still call them tall boys? Do the kids still call them tall boys?
I don't know. It was King Cans, I think, when I was younger. Wasn't it King Cans?
I'll speak for the youth.
Okay.
Still call it tall boys.
Still call them tall boys? Remember drinking the 2 liters from like the cheapo? It was Cheers on 8th Street in Saskatoon. I'm sure Regina had a number of them too, where they would make, it was always the bars that would make their like own beer, little breweries in the back.
Like a microbrewery, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. And they'd put them in the brown 2 liter. And if you had like, I don't know, what was it, $4.80 or whatever back in the day, that thing was all good for a Friday night high school party, early college. You're not allowed to drink in high school. It was more college.
Yeah. No,
better backtrack
university.
now.
Yeah.
Yes, I was old in high school. It was a rough period.
Held back.
It's voting day in Saskatchewan. So Dave in New Jersey, this doesn't pertain to you, but it is voting day. Get out and vote. Polls close at 8 o'clock. We got coverage, wall-to-wall coverage here of some sort?
Yeah, we've got a stream starting at 8 o'clock covering the election. So,
are they in this studio?
Yep.
Ooh, I got to give up my...
They are.
So I got to put everything away that I don't want to be... that might walk out of here. Those newsies, they're always looking for... always looking for some earbuds.
88 fingers Louis, those newsies are. Yeah.
Sticky fingers. Big election day. We got civic elections coming up in Regina and Saskatoon. Not sure if any other cities in Saskatchewan are going through the election. I think we get out and vote. Polls close at 8 p.m. Still, we still got some time for rider tickets, Colson. Yeah. What is it? 5:30. I got lots of time. Riders to 306-936-6262. If you're just joining us and you haven't, listen to the show, because a lot of you were working at 3 o'clock. We started the show riders-wise, but we also talked about the U of R Rams. Massive win, comeback win against U of A at Leibel Field on Friday night. You were calling the game, or you were doing color for the game with our friend Brendan McGuire. Colson, or was it Colson or Curtis? One of them brought up the stats. Like when you look at the possession, it was like 18 minutes to almost 42 minutes time of possession for the U of R Rams. Go ahead. You're going to chime in, Curtis?
Colson's the stats guy. Don't even mention my name.
You're just more the smart aleck. You're a graphic guy. You're doing a heck of a job on those graphics, by the way.
Yeah, they call me the graphic goat, or I don't know who they is, but someone out there probably said that at one point or another.
I think they is your mom, and Curtis just likes to get in a little extra airtime every once in a while.
I'll get Debbie to put one of my graphics up on the fridge. Print it out all Wally.
Does Debbie listen to the show?
I think she's tuned in once.
We need to get a camera on you, and then Debbie can see you. Colson's got his own camera.
Can see your boy.
The problem is he controls the camera, so even if he gets one, he's still not putting his face up.
We know Colson's dad is a retired volunteer fire chief. What does Debbie do?
That's a good question.
Stay-at-home mom?
For the most part, yeah.
Former mom? Yeah.
I think Debbie's going to be listening to the podcast of today's show later on.
Plays tambourine in a band. The show on Mondays is for Kellen Solar. We talked about this. Or do you got that video still handy? Of the throw the rock at the Rider game. If you're at the Rider game on Saturday, today's sponsor, Kellen Solar, one of the partners there, Derek Verheist. I always say his name wrong.
Get the sound on there.
Derek.
Some great sound effects in this.
Here it is, if you're watching the stream. Our sister station, 104.9 The Wolf, tossed the rock promotion. 7 balls to try and hit the moving target on the quad there, and Derek nailed them all. Like $731 richer. Look at the celebration. Mark Johnson from Play 92 dressed up as the Joker. He's revved. He was Derek.
Beetlejuice. No.
Beetlejuice. Oh, Joker. Sorry, Mark. Speaking of that, Thursday, I'm doing the show. I got to try and dress up. No idea. Still no idea what to go. I get an idea, but the first 2 things that I threw out there were shot down as somebody will think it's offensive. And I'm like, wow, you can't really do anything anymore.
What about a wrestler from back in the day?
Offensive. Wrestling's offensive.
Wrestler?
What wrestler would I go as? What wrestler? Tito what was it? Tito Santana?
Tito Santana. Yeah, maybe Tito Santana or the Magnificent Morocco. I think you're the missing link. Maybe the missing link. You should go with him. From parts unknown. I love how when they introduced him, they said the missing link from parts unknown, height and weight unknown. Nothing was known about the missing link. Or George the Animal Steel. You could bite open the turnbuckle.
Like Debbie Gammon. We don't know. We don't know much about. Don't know much. No, I remember the parts unknown thing. But I was like, remember Saturday morning? There was the two hitting dummies that I remember from wrestling. Yeah. It was Barry Horowitz, and he used to pat himself on the back. Barry Horowitz. And the other guy, which turned in, they actually kind of gave him a bit of a character after a year.
Oh, okay.
No, Steve Lombardi. He became the Brooklyn Brawler. So shout out Dave in Hoboken. Brawler. Maybe you know Steve Lombardi out there.
Probably runs a pub out there now in Hoboken.
Wrestling. Oh, have you watched that McMahon on? Is it Netflix? That one is on whatever streaming service.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Did you watch it?
I watched it a little while ago. Yeah. It's Planet Bizarro. It's It's for people that aren't into wrestling at all or weren't. I'm not into wrestling now. I don't watch it now, but I did back when we were kids for sure. And all those names were thrown out. Saturday night's main event and all these different things. The first WrestleManias. Anyway, it's not really much on wrestling. It's just about behind the scenes and a lot of these characters, of course, talking about Vince McMahon. And it's pretty Planet Bizarro. There's some weird things in there, and it's interesting. Anyway, where he is now is no surprise with what he's done.
Well, I don't know, because he kind of gets his lunch handed to him by, what was the other one called? WCW.
That's right.
And then they take over, and then I think they're dead in the water. But WWE makes a resurgence, and they are where they are now, and WCW kind of goes by the way. So it's an interesting watch. I've watched that in the last month. I'm not a big watch streaming guy. Like all I watch is sports for the most part. I watched that. I watched the Tragically Hip documentary on Prime. That's great. And I watched the first the made-for-TV Menendez Brothers, which was huge on Netflix. Monsters.
Yeah.
Man,
I watched that as well too.
Did you watch it?
I did. I watched the series, and then after that, I watched the documentary-style movie. With showing the real guys and hearing from them. And man, the characters in that series, Monsters, sure are close to the actual fellas in real life.
Oh, really?
That one is, yeah. Especially Lyle. The guy that plays Lyle is just about bang on. Like mannerisms, voice, and how he looks as well.
Lyle? Is Lyle the one with the toupee?
Lyle's one of the toupee. He's the older one. He had the two rivets in there where he clipped in the faulty the plastic salad. He had the plastic salad in there.
Lots of things in that show throw me for a loop. But the two was when the mom rips off the toupee. The second one is at the beginning where they're at the memorial service for the parents and they play Milli Vanilli, Girl, I'm Gonna Miss You, which I had to look up. Legit happened. That was legit.
Yeah, they don't show the Milli Vanilli being played, at funeral at the start, this documentary style movie, but they do talk about them. They just loved Milli Vanilli. They just for whatever reason they loved Milli Vanilli, and whenever they needed to kind of get out there, they just cranked Milli Vanilli and they went for a drive and they would just belt it from the the bottoms of their bellies. They just loved Milli Vanilli. Those two. Interesting.
Couple of texts coming in.
Odd one.
One said you just came up with your Halloween costume, Barney. Lyle Menendez. Not going to do that. Bradley chimed in. Ugh on the Maple Leafs drought. Sorry. 21,000 days. Saw it today, and another smart aleck out in the Okanagan, Sport and Gene Coke guy. Barney must watch White Lotus seasons 1 and 2. Crave. I could be an
very good
joke.
Series as well. No. It's a great. Yeah, it's a great series. Great series.
Thanks everybody. Yeah, that's. I'm always looking for advice. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we are streaming on SportsCage.com, and as always, we are on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM. Welcome back, Bidsy, Shink, Colson, and Curtis on this Monday for Kellen Solar. If you need solar, residential, commercial, They've been in the biz 35 years, local and trusted Kellen Solar based in Lumsden, Saskatchewan. Housekeeping things to get through, 936-6262. Still a chance to get in to win tickets to the West semifinal this Saturday at Mosaic Stadium. The keyword that you want to text in, Riders. We talked about it earlier in the show. Unfortunate for yesterday for the Regina Thunder. They fall to the Okanagan Sun, 28-14 in the national semifinal. Okanagan, good team. Bidsy, we talked about it earlier. The Thunder just kept, they couldn't get the plays through the air when they needed it. It was a lot of 2-and-outs, punting into the wind, field position battle, won by Okanagan. The running backs, though, Siddiq and Ryland Likert, who we've had on the show, that offensive line did a heck of a job. Steven Smith and the defensive squad did a great job keeping the running back and backs of Okanagan in check. Okanagan made some plays down the stretch when they needed to. That field position thing, you don't really get it until I thought it when I started coaching football. Like when I was playing it, I was like, yeah, I kind of get it, but you still kind of think it's a video game. You're young, naive. And then we start coaching it, especially with weather and wind, and then it's like, okay, no, we have to take this into consideration. I feel, that Okanagan did that in the third by taking the wind and it worked out because the Thunder had to punt into the wind a few times on a couple of 2-and-outs. They got field goals. They kind of took control of the game. Okanagan had some timely fumbles, like the defense of the Thunder punching the ball out, making it happen. They just couldn't get the offense going, like the running game. And then Okanagan just started keying on the run. And they're like, hey, well, if you're going to beat us, try and beat us passing it. They had a couple of big lockdown corners for Okanagan as well. And then Friday night, you were called. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that leading into that, what you're about to talk about is the Rams game that was on Friday night. That will be looking ahead to the Rams facing the U of M Bisons now in the playoffs. That will be the task ahead of the U of R Rams. They were able to run it. Christian Katende was able to run it. The offensive line was able to stuff it down the U of A Golden Bears' throats. But, I mean, that's going to be the tape that U of M is going to be watching all week, right? They're going to say, well, if we take out Christian Katende and we don't let the offensive line get rolling, then we're going to force them into passing, and they're going to have to beat us that way. And so Noah Pelche and the pass game, because Steven, I believe, is still not going to be able to play for the Rams, the passing game for the Rams is going to have to be on point. Aaron Naza, Deshaun Sims is going to, they're going to have brilliant, Mims rather, they're going to have to have brilliant games for the Rams passing wise, the passing attack, in order to have a real shot at that one, I think.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. Playoff football is always awesome. Anything can happen. Earlier, about an hour ago, we had a chance to talk to the head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It will be up on podcast form. Coulson did some fancy editing here, pulled out a couple of questions. Really good interview. And as Mace points out to one of your questions, Bidsy.
Are you feeling that kind of feeling around the group as you moved through this season and got you to where you are now? Are you feeling that everybody is coming together and that positive energy in that locker room and everybody's kind of hitting where they should be as you guys go into this rematch with BC in the Western semifinal from a few weeks ago when you managed to take them at home 39-8?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel, it's a marriage of a lot of things. A lot of the guys that we had earmarked as, starters, everybody's getting healthy at the right time of year. Continuity for the last few weeks has been outstanding. It just allows you to level up. But, throughout this year and, first year of a new regime, new team, everybody's, getting to know each other. This is it's incredible, the bond that this team has and the belief that we have in each other. And really, you get that through tough times. And certainly we saw some of those, throughout the season. And to see how he responded out at the back end of the season there, it speaks to the guys in the locker room, man, and just, the culture and the atmosphere that they've created amongst themselves. And I'm telling you, everybody's really excited. We're pumped for what's ahead of us. So, step one is obviously here at Mosaic. We got to do our part. Obviously, Rider Nation's got to do their part and keep this thing rolling, man.
I don't want to single out any coaches by any means, but I've wanted to ask you all year, like, how do you describe the job that Edwin Harrison's done with that offensive line this year? Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, this is rare. It's rare in any given year. But for Ed, who we call the Coach of the Year, the whole team we call him Coach of the Year. The injuries that he's had to deal with at that position, and being able to roll guys in there, get them prepared to go out and execute each week. And you look at it that you would expect having that many starters being rotated at that position. That your quarterback's going to be pretty banged up and dirty, but we've finished fairly well in keeping our quarterback upright. Our offense still moved efficiently. Even the games that didn't turn out in our favor, they came down to the wire. We'll be better for that. Now when guys are getting healthy, we feel like we have good options, and certainly young guys who got probably more experience than they anticipated. Going into the future of the organization as well, I think helps. But, it takes time from a coach's standpoint, to make sure that you not so much settle and simplify, but just know your guys and get them in the right position to succeed. And Ed's done an outstanding job with that.
And he talked about it. He mentioned it a number of times. It's almost like a plea to Rider Nation. Like, we need you to show up on Saturday. We need you in the stands. We need you loud. We need you causing havoc. Tomfoolery expected. Those are my words, not his.
Yeah, he doesn't use tomfoolery a lot. That's more of a Shink. Yeah, that's more of a Shink phrase, the old tomfoolery. But essentially what he's saying, of course, Barney, is that we did our part. You wanted us to have a home playoff date. We did our part. We had our ups and we had our downs, but we did our part. Now we need you, Rider Nation, to show everybody how you're a major factor in games and come out on Saturday.
I really like it. They made it affordable. Get out there and first year.
It's not gonna be that
remember last year when we had a better chance of watching the Leafs win the cup than we did in the playoffs. There's another shot at the Leaf fans out there. But no, we're here again. We're in the playoffs. We're postseason. VA, the BC Lions. They're going to be a different team, though, too. He talked about that. We talked about that with Darian Durant. You can go back and listen to it in podcast form. The Lions are going to be totally different than that team that we mollywopped. There's another good term. Just a few weeks ago.
I haven't even heard that one before.
What?
Mollywopping. The mollywopping? A mollywop? Yeah. I haven't heard of mollywop. Nope.
Yeah, they're going to be a different team, though.
Yeah, for sure they will. And obviously VA is behind center instead of Rourke. But, this is the postseason, and you're not going to get teams coming out flat like that in the postseason like the Lions seem to have in that game at Mosaic Stadium. Should be a good one. Hopefully we come out on top.
Hockey fans after one, the Edmonton Oilers fans after one, they're down 3-0 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. World Series Game 3 tonight, shifting to the Bronx. Maybe Dave and the fellas are having a few there in Hoboken, getting ready for the game. Dave just called in from Hoboken, New Jersey a little while ago. And Ohtani's playing. Do you confirm that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We confirmed.
Starting lineup.
Was it? Yeah. Jeez. That changes things. Dodgers up 2. Atmosphere will be electric for that one. And then there are a number of hockey games on tonight. There's basketball games. And then there's NFL. Russell Wilson. Russell's cooking. It's in Pittsburgh, too. Giants, Steelers. 6 points. Steelers are a 6-point. I think they cover that. Probably the better question, though, is the over-under. 37.5. God, that's when you know you could be in for a garbage football game.
When it gets up there like that.
37 when it gets down there like that.
Or sorry, down there,
and a half.
Yeah, there's not going to be many points on the board, between the two teams. As quickly going back to the World Series, did you get a chance to see it? I was wondering if you think that maybe New York. Might be a little bit too quick to spin around, but did you see that Ice Cube's performance coming in from the dugout before Game 2 of the World Series? No. Didn't catch it? Anyway.
I'm going to have to watch it.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. He came in from the dugout, started rapping right from walking through the dugout gate all the way to home plate. And then he mimicked a home run, dropped the mic there. Place went nuts. It was great. Even the New York Yankees were really into it too, right? I was just wondering if New York is being, all right, L.A., okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to, your guys are all showbiz. Okay. We'll show you what we can do in New York. We got a few entertainers here in New York. Maybe we'll string something together really quick. Maybe
Start spreading the news. That guy's he's passed on. Ice Cube, that'd be cool though. Hopefully it was When Will They Shoot. I can see that song going. Bidsy, we got to go. It's election night. The boys are telling us we got to go to break. Thanks so much. Good show, buddy.
You too, pal.
Colson, thanks so much. Curtis, thanks so much. Dave and Maz are with you tomorrow. I'm back on Wednesday for the rest of the week. This is the All New Sports Cage on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.